everybody, this is Heather with Stampin' Up. I'm an independent demonstrator in Spokane, Washington, and I am coming to you live tonight to help to create a few cards and show you how I made them. And tonight we're actually going to have a few extra bonus cards to show you, and I've also got 2 drawings to do at the end. Don't let me forget this week. The reason I'm doing 2 is because I was supposed to do one last week, and just by the time it was all over, got in the rush to close things down, and that was it. So I'm noticing that once again my computer or my camera is crooked. So we've got that turned around. Let me do a little playing on my computer here because I want to make sure I can see your comments. So let's see here. Okay. We're going to have to do this in portrait again tonight, which I hate to do because it just kind of limits the scope of what we've got going on. But we're going to make it work. We always do, right? Let's see, hey Kathy, how are you? Good to see you. Hi Marcy. Welcome, welcome. Let's see, I'm trying to think if I have anything really going on to tell you about. Well, a few more people join us. You know, it's been busy at work. I'd mentioned before, the first couple weeks of every month are crazy with month-end stuff to do. So it's been really busy. In fact, I was there till 8 o'clock on Monday night. And so today my boss kicked me out of the office at 1:45, which was kind of nice. I came home and was super tired, so I was going to take a nap, and laid there and laid there and laid there. So gave up on the nap and decided I'll just go to bed early tonight. So I'm trying to think, you know, I don't think I have anything else exciting to tell you about. I've just been, you know, busy stamping and trying to get caught up on things that are behind. I have a whole bunch of cards that I still need to post to the various social media things that, I mean, I've been behind for about a month now because it's just been so insane around here. So be watching my Facebook, my Pinterest, my Instagram, however you follow me, because I am committed to getting these cards up for you guys to see. So watch me there. Now, one thing tonight, I'm really encouraging everybody to participate because the way I will know who to put in the drawings is by who participates. Because if you don't say anything while you're here, I don't know you're here. So make sure you let me know that you're here. Hey Tracy, good to see you. Welcome. Hey Kathy, welcome. So let's go ahead and turn the camera around. We'll go ahead and get started. So hang on just a second while I get everything turned around. For those of you who missed it at the beginning, yes, once again, we're having to do this in portrait because I have yet to figure out what the magic secret is to getting it to go in landscape every time. Sometimes it works for me and sometimes it doesn't. So let's see, got a little light here and I'm hoping it helps a little this week, but I guess we'll see what happens here. Let's see. Added a little light there. Maybe I could bring this down. Whoa! Hang in there, folks. Maybe I can get this to come down a little bit so that at least you've got more of a zoom view of what we have going on. So, no, I don't even know how to get to Creator Studio, Marcy. I'm sure it's very easy to find. Maybe you can help me with that, you know, outside of this so that I can do that. I just go in through my Facebook business page and tell it to create a post and tell it that I want that particular post to be a live video. So I would love your help. I will gladly take you up on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. Just a couple things really quick to remind you about some specials going on right now. We've got the Savings Are in Bloom, where you can get 20% off of our mini cutting and embossing machine. It's normally $60, which is a great price, but you can get it this month for $48. And then there are also 13 different bundles. This one, they all squared away, and then these other 12 bundles that are available, also 20% off. So this special is good through the end of the month, so definitely a great time to take advantage of it. And then also Waves of the Ocean. I've seen some really cool stuff done with this. You can buy it as a full collection where you get the paper and the dies and the stamp set and some little jewels that are kind of watery colors. You can get that for $79.25, which is a fantastic deal for all of that stuff. But you can also buy each of these pieces separately right now. You can buy the stamps or the dies. You can buy the stamps and dies together as well. There's this paper that looks like that kind of drip technique. Hey Talina, hey Eric. Some metallic papers in various shades of blue, and then the jewels that I was talking about in the various shades of bluish, greenish. And this special actually runs through the 2nd of May. On the 3rd of May, our new catalog comes out, and the stamps and dies will be in the catalog, but the rest of these items, the papers and the jewels, will not be. So now is the time to take advantage of getting those products if you're interested in that. And if you are, you can always go to my website, heathersides.stampinup.net, and you can look at my online shopping and purchase them that way. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. So the first card we're going to do tonight uses our Hello Ladybug stamp set. I love this little ladybug. I think she's so cute, and I love to play with her. We're also going to use the Tasteful Textile embossing folder, and then we're also going to use the Painted Texture embossing folder. So we're going to have kind of a little bit of fun with embossing folders tonight on this card. And then before I show you the card we're going to make, let me show you a few extras I have. Some of you may be familiar with these cards. I made them in a recent class I took, and I know some of you were in that class, so they will be familiar to some of you. This one is made using just the flowers from the stamp set. It doesn't even utilize the ladybug in any way. And then there's little gems right here on these little flowers. So it's a very simple card, but pretty. There's also this one. I love these little ladybugs peeking out of the circles. And then we used some of the crystal effects to kind of give a little dimension to their little ladybug spots. We've got this one. This used some of our, I can't even think what the paper is. I can't remember what the paper's called, but it's in our new January through June mini catalog, and it's kind of in the Valentine's section, but it's a great paper to use really any time of the year. And we used our little hexagon, self-adhesive hexagon dots for the dots on the ladybug here, and for the dots on the centers of the flowers. And then finally, we made a slimline card with this, again using that paper. The class was right around Valentine's Day, so of course it makes sense that we used this paper. But again, it doesn't have to just be Valentine's Day. It can be used year-round. So these were just a few of the great ladybug cards that we made. So I give you a few extra samples there. The one we're going to make tonight, however, is this one. So I'm going to show you a couple new techniques with this, or a new technique. And let's see, inside of it's pretty simple. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. First thing we'll do is our envelope. I like to do that, get it out of the way, let the glue dry while we're making the card. So I've got my little liquid glue here, which is what I like to use to do the envelopes. Oops, got a little glue booger in it. Hi Stephanie, welcome, it's good to see you. Hey Robin, welcome. Okay, so let's glue this little envelope flap, just a little bit around the edges. And you guys, I am in love with the Designer Series paper packs that you can get for each of the color families. I've used them quite a bit recently, as you've seen in other recent lives. And I just, you know, they match our colors. They all have the same designs, but they're nice and simple. When I have a card that maybe isn't using a DSP that I want to put on an envelope flap, or just doesn't use a DSP, then I can color coordinate it with this paper. So I really am liking this Designer Series paper in particular for the color families. And a new design will be coming out when the new catalog comes out May 3rd. Every year they keep the Designer Series papers available in the color families, but they change the design with each new catalog. So look out for those new fun new pieces that will be coming out in May. Okay, so just got the envelope done. Let's get kicking on this card. So the first thing we're going to do to make this card is we're going to take our half sheet of Pear Pizzazz. It is 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored in the middle at 4 1/4. I probably say that in my sleep because I say it all the time. 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So I'm going to set that aside for the moment. And then I also have a piece of Flirty Flamingo and a piece of the Designer Series paper from our Heart and Home series. And it's a collection of products. One side of the paper is kind of a country style floral patterns. The other side is wood grains, but wood grains in this kind of white and gray and blues. So it's a little bit lighter. And, you know, then I feel like it works really well when you want a wood grain for a feminine card. So it's kind of nice. First thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp that little baby. So let me find, I want to use the stamp that says, "May your greatest wish come true." And I'm just going to use my black Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp it in the corner. I love it too, Kathy. I just think it's pretty, but it's also really neutral. Okay, so we got that stamped. Clean off my stamp. Oh, I'm making all sorts of messes here, you guys. I've hardly begun and I'm making all sorts of messes already. Okay, move these out of the way. Put my ink back away. Because Robin knows what I tend to do with my ink pads. I tend to lay in them if I leave them open. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down. The more I can combine my papers as I go along, the less chance I have of losing them or accidentally getting ink on them when I don't want to. So I like to piece it together as I go. Now, let's see here. Line this up so my margins are relatively the same everywhere. And now I'm going to go ahead and just put it on the card. Make sure I've got it right side up. Okay, so we've got that part. Let's go ahead and do the middle too. The inside. So I just have a piece of basic white cardstock that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a tiny little strip of the Flirty Flamingo Designer Series paper. So let's go ahead and glue this little strip to the bottom. Whoop, there we go. For those of you who missed the very beginning, I encourage you to go ahead and chat with me and the other participants while we're doing this, because at the end I'm going to do 2 drawings, one for this week and one to make up for forgetting to do it last week. And the way that I know you're here is when I see you chatting. So whether it's to me or to our fellow participants, give a shout out, say hello, and join in the fun. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim off the excess little bits here. And let's go ahead and put that on the inside of the card. As you can see, I do like to switch around which adhesives I'm using. I pretty much use all the different adhesives that we have. I just use them for different things. So if you see me using the liquid glue and you don't like the liquid glue, you are welcome to use the other kinds that we offer. They all work very, very well. And if I am using a particular glue for a very specific reason, I will generally let you know that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make the leaves. I decided to try something a little different this time. I already pre-did 2 of them because I need to fussy cut them, and I didn't think you wanted to spend the time watching me fussy cut 3 of these guys. I thought it might be a little time consuming. So I'm going to make 1 more because I do want to show you what I did. So I am using the leaf stamp that goes with the Ladybug set. I love this set too, Kathy. It's just, she's adorable and I love her. And I love Ladybugs. Like, I would love to have a Volkswagen Bug that is like a nice pink, because pink is my favorite color. A nice pink with black circles all over it. So it looks like a little ladybug. That's my dream car. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am stamping using Pear Pizzazz ink on Pear Pizzazz cardstock. And, you know, you can see the difference in the color. I guess it's not all that different, but it's a little darker when you first stamp it. As it soaks into the paper and dries, it really does get a little bit lighter. So when you first stamp, if you feel like something is too dark, give it a little time. Because drying and soaking in will change it. Oh, Tracy's another one who loves pink. When I was in high school, I've told this story before, but when I was in high school, I used to do pageants and stuff, and well, high school and college, and I did not like pink in high school at all. And my mom, I was doing the junior miss pageant, and my mom kept putting off going and getting my dress. And I literally had nightmares, dreams, that we'd go to get a dress and that all that was left was pink. Now, of course, that's the first thing I would go for, but not back then. Okay, so now I'm just fussy cutting this little leaf, and it actually goes pretty quickly. I know it's slow around the stem, but the rest of it, you just get kind of wiggly. So it makes it pretty easy. I do like to leave a little bit of a halo around it. I just think it gives a nice finished look. Plus it also offers a little bit of forgiveness if you don't get it exact, where you don't necessarily have that same forgiveness when you are cutting right along the line of the image. Okay. So we're almost done here. Get this guy finished up. Now I think this is a great stamp. You know, it's got the leaf, it's got the little veins in the leaf, and they show really quite well. You know, they don't, sometimes with really fine lines like that, they kind of blend in a little bit more than you'd like them to. I really like how they show up on this particular stamp. But I got this idea that I thought, I want to see if I could add just a little bit more texture to this leaf. Hey Jason, welcome! So let me grab my cutting and embossing machine because I'm going to show you what I did to add a little bit of dimension. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but you can see, maybe, I'm trying to see, you can kind of see where it looks like there's extra veins or texture. I'm going to show you how I got that. So I'm bringing in the big cutting and embossing machine. I forgot that getting this close with the camera was going to make it a little hard to see. So Let's see what we can get here, because I at least want it to be partly visible for you, right? Okay, so this is the big cutting machine. Oh, and you know what? And then I set my leaf right under it. This is the big cutting machine, and I only use it because some of our embossing folders, the ones I'm using tonight, for example, are a little bit too big for the little one. So we have this one. This is the painted texture is what it's called. Hey Mary, welcome. Glad to see you. Okay, so what I did is I took the leaf that I stamped and then cut out, and then I put it in this embossing folder. Put this plate over it, and let's go ahead and feed it through. Sorry for all the wiggling. Now let's move this out of the way so we can go back to our normal being able to see stuff. And now you can kind of see, if you look at this, what the texture is that this embossing folder puts on the paper. So that's how I got those little extra lines and shapes, not shapes necessarily, but just that kind of crinkly look on my leaf. And I just thought it added a little bit of almost realism to them. I really liked that. So I, again, just used the painted texture embossing folder for that. Now I'll put this guy away. Now let's move on to the next step of our card. So we've got the front started, right? Let's go ahead and put these on here. By the way, I did 2 of my leaves using the Pear Pizzazz ink, and then I did 1 with the Versamark. And the reason I did that is because Versamark will come out with the same color as your cardstock, but it's a little bit lighter than when you use the ink that is the same color as your cardstock. So I just wanted another shade. So I used Versamark for just 1 of these leaves. So let's go ahead and glue these guys down. And I'm just kind of putting them in the corners here. And I'm putting the darker ones on the bottom. I kind of played with it a little bit and found that I liked the darker ones on the bottom and the lighter one on top. The other thing I did that I forgot about is I let this go off the edge of my designer series paper so that it kind of went to the edges of the cards. Then I put dimensionals, Stampin' Dimensionals, on the light colored one, the 3rd one, just to pop it up a little bit. And then I put, let me find my little ones, I put a little tiny one on that stem. You could probably get away with not putting one on the stem at all, but I'm kind of weird that way. I'm a little bit obsessive with my dimensionals, so it's really what you prefer, what you like. So now I'm going to take the backs off. And let's have this one go in the other direction. Okay, now let's make our little Miss Ladybug. I did kind of some fun stuff with her too. So first thing, I just have scraps of the designer series paper and in the Flirty Flamingo, and then basic black cardstock. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the Ladybug punch. By the way, you can buy this as a bundle where you get the punch and the stamp set together. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and punch 2 of the Ladybugs, and I'm going to show you why here in just a minute. So there's 1. There's our second one. Now, get rid of all these little extra pieces of cardstock that are floating around. Okay, I wanted my little Miss Ladybug to have a little texture on her bottom. So the first thing I tried is I embossed her entire body, but I didn't like it so much with the head having the embossing. But I did like it on her little behind. So for this, I'm using the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And I should get all my little pieces out of the way first this time, since I didn't do that last time and ended up setting my stuff right down on top of my pieces. So here we go. I've got the embossing folder. I'm going to take my little Ladybug, either one of them, it really doesn't matter. I'm putting her in there. I feel like a magician. Now I'm going to close the magic box. Oh, I put this on the desk backwards. I don't normally do this with my left hand. That's kind of funny. Okay. But you know how like the magician puts the girl in the box and then spins the box around and then brings the box out, opens it, and she's gone? That's kind of how I feel with the embossing, or with my cutting and embossing machine. Okay. Now, here we go. We've got a fully embossed Ladybug body and head, but we're going to cut her head off. I know, doesn't sound very nice, does it? But, well, something has to be sacrificed here, and it's her head. Okay, and I suppose we could save that and, you know, have it peek out somewhere or something. I mean, I've seen all sorts of creative uses of pieces that get cut off that you would think just go in the garbage, and people make use of them. Okay, so now I'm going to glue her little textured body down. And I'm just gluing it right on top of the other one that I cut. Absolutely. Tracy says she feels like a magician every time she makes a card and it comes out nice. I know what you mean. And you know what's cool is I think the people who receive those cards feel like you are as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my punch again and I'm going to cut out her wings using the Designer Series paper. I felt it was kind of fun to use the Designer Series paper. It just gave a little something extra to those wings. So let's go ahead and glue those. Actually, before we glue those down, what we need to do is we're going to stamp the dots onto the wings. Okay, so again, we're going to use the black Memento ink. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and position these on my wings. I think they're kind of crooked, but that's okay. Every ladybug's different, right? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and attach her wings, but we're not quite done with them, and you'll see why in just a minute here. So a little glue at the top here. I may have gone a little crazy there with the glue. We might have a little more than we actually need. I'm going to go ahead and stick the wings on that cute little body. You know, the other thing I think I like about ladybugs is they look kind of pudgy because they have this little fat bottom, and I can so relate to that. So I'm not chubby, I'm a ladybug. And everybody loves ladybugs, right? Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to take my black matte dots. I've done this before, you've seen me do this before, and I am going to put those on top of the spots I just stamped. You could do this without the spots, without stamping them, but I like to because it just gives me an idea of where to position them. You could do it though without them. So there's a couple different sizes of
dots on her body, and we have a couple different sizes of the matte black dots, so that works out pretty well. Oops, this guy is kind of off center. So let's, okay, there we go. So put a couple of the small ones over there. I keep bumping my hand and then it makes the dots go in the wrong spot. Whoops. And I'm using my Take Your Pick tool. I think these are about $10. You can buy them on my website. I use mine all the time. Those of you who follow me know that. You've seen me use it and you've heard me say that every time I use it, because I do. I Take Your Pick tool. There we go. Now it's the right side up. Going along. There we go. Everything's back. It's unfrozen on my side. Yes, Kathy, off with her head. Okay. There we go. So this, you can see from this angle, it just gives a little bit of texture and dimension on the wings, doing the dots for her wings. And you get so many dots in one of these packages, you might as well use them, right? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and use a couple dimensionals to stick her down to the card. Only this time I'm going to use my black dimensionals. If I can figure out where I put them. I have kind of this messy basket full of all of my adhesives, and sometimes things go missing in there. Okay, so put a couple of dimensionals on her little fat body. Okay. And the black dimensionals are really nice when you're using a darker cardstock. They just don't show, you know, if you see the card from the side or whatever, they just don't show as much as the white ones would if you're using dark cardstock. So let's go ahead and put her right about there. And there we go. There is our sweet little Ladybug card and the matching envelope. So everybody, let me know what you think of this sweet little Ladybug card and her little textured bottom. I just can't get over that. I think that's so adorable. But I'm also very, very easily amused sometimes. Okay, so the next card I've got for you, I don't have any extra samples to show you of this one. But this one, oops, hold on here. I grabbed stuff I don't need for this card. This card is going to be using our artistically inked stamp set. I haven't used this one in a while, so I thought it was fun to get it back out. Thank you, Kathy says, so dang cute, and she is. We're also going to use the artistic dies. You can purchase them as a bundle. Kathy likes the textured bottom. It's kind of fun sometimes to just add a little texture to what we're stamping or punching or whatever. It just makes it a little bit different, and I enjoy doing that. Okay, so this is the card we're making, and I actually got this one off Pinterest, and I had forgotten to put write down the name of the person who designed it. But if you go to my Pinterest page and you look in the annual catalog section, you will see this card, and you can look it up and see the name of the person who designed it, because I really do believe in giving credit where it's due. I just happened to forget to get her name. So, thanks, Mary. Mary says it's a cute card. Let's go ahead and get started on this one. Half a sheet of basic black cardstock. 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. I bet you knew I was going to say that, right? Let's do the inside of, or I'm sorry, not the inside yet. Let's do the envelope. And this is using our Pattern Party Designer Series paper. You can either earn this as a host when your party totals $150 or more. You can use your product credit to buy it. Or if you place a personal order of $150 more, you'll get product credit and you can use it to buy this paper. But that's the only way to get it. It's kind of a special paper. One side is all sorts of bright patterns and fun designs. The other side is all black and white, several different designs and patterns, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and put the paper on the flap. Okay, now let's cut off the extra. If you like what you're seeing tonight, I would love it if you could send up some hearts and like the video, whether you're on YouTube watching this as a replay, or Facebook watching it as a replay, or watching it live with me tonight. It helps with the Facebook algorithms when they think people like the video. So that helps me a lot. And what also really helps is if you share this video. You know, you never know in your feed who might be interested in card making that you just never even were aware that they did. So when you share the video, you might be giving someone some great ideas that they didn't know they needed. And it looks like I forgot to cut one piece of my background here, so let me cut it really quick. Okay, that was easy. And I am using Pool Party and then the black and white here. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to glue, actually wrong piece, that goes on the inside. I'm going to glue this piece down onto the Pool Party. So let's go ahead and do that now. Oops. I love Pool Party. I think it's such a pretty color. Okay. Now I'm going to wait to glue it to the front of my card, I think, just because we're still going to be doing some work with it, and I want to make sure that we get it the way we want it before it's all glued down. The other thing I'm going to do is I have these two strips. One is the Pool Party, and one is a strip of the Designer Series paper that matches the front. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue it down here. This is going to be on the inside of the card. So I felt like just gluing this strip down, I wouldn't say it was blah, but it just didn't pop quite as much as I wanted it to. So I went ahead and put it on a piece of the Pool Party. Whoop. And I'm going to go ahead and center it on here. I'm going to show you why here in just a second. Because I guess it's not super centered, but I knew that the black and white piece was not going to extend all the way to the edges of my paper. Sometimes I'll do that just to give a little bit extra pop of color. So what I'll do is I'll glue this down and then I'll cut off the excess of the Pool Party. So I'll line it up at one side of the card. Welcome, Carol. And for those of you who have joined us since I last announced this, please make sure you're commenting tonight and participating in the conversation, because I'm going to be doing two drawings at the end of the video, one for the one I forgot to do last week and one for this week. And the way I will know that you're here in order to put your name in the drawing is if you have commented in the comment section. So, okay, there's our inside piece. Let's go ahead and, there's my ribbon. Let's go ahead and glue this one down. Put it inside the card before I lose it or accidentally get ink all over it. I really like this black and white. I think it's just so sharp, and when you offset it with another color, whatever that color is, it really pops. Okay, now what I'm going to do, we're going back to this piece, and I have 3 different pieces of the Designer Series paper. One in So Saffron, one in Pool Party, and one in Magenta Madness. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and glue these pieces down. Let's start with the one I want in the middle, and I want to go ahead and put the Pool Party piece in the middle. Did I use the plaid? No, I want this side to be up. So, and I just kind of, actually, I lied. I put the other pieces down first. Now the other thing you could do if you don't have this Designer Series paper is you could take a small stamp and make your own background paper. Now let's put this one right here in the middle, and I want it to be up just a little bit higher than the other 2. So there we go. And now we're going to take, I pre-did part of this. I used, let me show you which die cut I used. I used this die cut, and I use this one a lot because I just think it's nice and big, so it fills up the card, but it's so pretty and it's got a lot of detail, so I do like to use it. And I'll frequently use it in just, you know, like a basic color like black or white to offset whatever else is going on in the card. Now it does have a lot of dams in there. Dams are the pieces that punch out, and you could just go through and pull them out like this by hand. And it takes a little while, but they pop out pretty easily. But what I did is I didn't want to try to put glue on these little tiny intricate details. So I used our adhesive sheets, and I put it on the back of my black cardstock, and then I ran it through my die cut machine. So when it came out, it had the adhesive paper on the back of it, so it turned it into a sticker for me. And then when you find a little piece where you can tear up that that release paper, that's the unsticky side, what it does is it pulls a lot of those little tiny details with it, so you don't have to pull them all out. See how it's pulling it off there? Now it still does leave some that we're going to have to pull out ourselves, but it gets the majority of them, so that's kind of nice. I'm just getting these little pieces that stuck to the back of the die, or back of the die cut. Let's So this does take kind of a minute, but it's not too terrible, and it makes it nice and easy to stick it down on your project. So okay, see how it got pulled most of that out? So we just have a few pieces that we still need to pull out on our own, but not as many as we started with. So I will take that. Okay, I want to make sure I got all the little tiny black pieces. And it looks like I got most of them. Now this flower right here, this big one, has these little dots in the center. And when I pulled off the release paper, it got most of them out, but there are still a few there that are loitering, and we need to tell them it's time for them to go. Now, I'm going to push this aside for the moment. We'll clean it up in just a minute so we don't accidentally get it stuck on our card. And you can decide how you want this to lay on your card. I chose to go like this. Now, one thing you can do to make sure it sticks down really well is turn it face down and rub the back of it, just like so. Okay, now I'm going to clean up this little mess. Okay, so now we have that part of our card. Let's go ahead and do this last stamping. I should have done this stamping at the beginning, and then we could just put the card together all at once. But what I'm going to do here, I forgot to bring out my punch that I did. Maybe I chose not to. Maybe I didn't. I did. I'll grab the punch in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to stamp hello, and this is a sentiment that comes in the Artistically Inked stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it off to the right-hand side here a little bit. Ooh, and I ended up with little shadows there, so we'll just flip it over. And I'm using my bone folder because sometimes the back side of what you have cut with your trimmer has a little lip that sticks up, so you just use your bone folder and it sticks it back down. Ah, I did it again. Okay, I'm going to show you how I get rid of that. Let it soak in, let it dry for a minute. I'm going to grab my punch. Hang on just a second. And now what I'm doing, and these pieces are only an inch wide. I guess they were 7/8. This piece is 7/8 of an inch. So when I stick it in here to cut the end, I'm going to want to look at the back to make sure that it is centered in there, or else my banner ends up kind of wonky. So there's that one. And then I have a black piece that is an inch wide. Whoops. Apparently it's just slightly bigger than an inch wide. Okay. Put the ink pad away. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sand eraser. I just bought this. I've used this before. You've seen me use it before. I just bought it on Amazon. It was only a couple bucks. And when you have a really fine line like that where you stamped and you don't want it, this little tool is great for getting it off your card. You want to be careful if you use it too much, though. It does rough up your paper a little bit, like I did in this case. So do be careful with that. Now let's go ahead and just stick it onto the black background. Okay. And now I'm going to stick it right there. Line it up so my margins are relatively the same everywhere. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and we'll stick this on the card. Again, I'm using our Stampin' Dimensionals because I want it to pop up a little bit. I typically like to have at least one element on my card popped up with dimensionals, or foam adhesive sheets, or foam adhesive strips, or something of that nature. So now I'm just going to go ahead and stick this on and line it up with the edge of my pool party cardstock. There we go. Oh, but you know what I forgot to do first, so let's peel this off. I have some pool party ribbon here, and I'm going to tie it around the card. It looks like I have a lot of ribbon here, but you've heard me say it before. Give yourself permission to waste a little bit of ribbon so that you have enough extra to be able to tie your bow. I find my bows turn out better when I give myself just a little extra length to work with the bow. they are a little harder to get them the way I want them when I'm short on ribbon. So, so give yourself that permission. There we go. I'm trying to make sure my ribbon is going the right direction here, because it, you know, it gets twisted up in the bow when you're tying it. Whoops, now this one's a little bit big. It does not want to be helpful tonight. Okay. Thank you, Robin. Robin says it's a lovely card. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I think that's an okay size for my bow. So I'm going to go ahead and trim the tails. And now we're going to go ahead and put this on here. Let's see, scoot this down a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and line this up underneath the bow. I may need to move my bow over just a tad so that I can line this up with the edge of the piece of Pool Party cardstock. Okay, now, part of the problem here is it's stuck to my ribbon, and I'm worried that it's not going to stick down. So I forgot what I had done is I actually used mini dimensionals when I put this on, and let me show you how I did that, or why I did that. So little tiny baby dimensionals, where'd you go? Okay, hang on, I have to turn off my heater. Okay. The reason I used the little ones is because then I could put them right up to the edge, and I wanted to use the black ones. Hang on here. I want to put them right up to the edge of my strip here, because then the dimensionals will straddle the ribbon, and so the banner will stick down to the card itself, not to the ribbon. I have shaky hands tonight. And see how that leaves a nice little gap there in the middle for the ribbon. And again, I used the black dimensionals because I was using a dark paper. Now let's try it. See, there we go. Now it's going to stay in place. It's not all wiggly like it was when the dimensionals were on the ribbon. So now let's go ahead and stick this to our card. It's not very well centered. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, then the last little bit of something. I have our Iridescent Rhinestone Basic Jewels. I love these. These are new in the January through June mini catalog. And, you know, I was one who used the Basic Rhinestone Jewels a lot because the fact that there really wasn't any color to them, I liked that. But these, there's not really any color to them, but they kind of have an opalescent sort of sheen to them, and I love that. So I might put a couple extra on here that I didn't on the other card, just because of where my hello is positioned. It's positioned a little differently than it was on my first card. So actually, maybe we'll just do it like that. So I've got 3 giving kind of a triangle effect there. The little trick is to always use odd numbers. So if you want more than 3, go for 5 or 7 or, 2 2 looks nice, but 3 just kind of gives the eye, it's pleasing to the eye. I don't know why that is, but it is. So there is our card. There's the inside and the matching envelope. Card number 2 is in the books, guys. You ready for the last one? This one I have some fun samples, and I'll have to tell you where the extra samples came from were mistakes. And so rather than throwing out the mistake pieces, I chose to make additional cards with them. So, oh, I'm sorry that your screen is frozen, Tracy. But if you want to join or watch later to see the end of it, to see what I do with this card, you can you can watch it later, the replay later on my Facebook page, or you can watch it on YouTube because I upload it to YouTube as soon as I'm done. So have a good night, Tracy, and thanks for joining us. So the stamp set I'm going to use here is Rainbow of Happiness. I love this stamp set. This is one that when it first came out, really didn't do anything for me. And then I kept seeing all these adorable ideas with it. And now I love it and I use it all the time. So Rainbow of Happiness. And it has, of course, matching dies. So you can buy it as a bundle where you can cut out the little rainbows. You can cut out some clouds, all sorts of fun little things. And then I'm also using the basic borders dies because I like this little cloud one. And that I actually used on one of the sample cards I have for you. But I also used it on the one we're making. Also, I used this fun designer series paper, Abstract Beauty. It's a little bit different because the sheets are 4x6. And usually when you buy our designer series paper, it comes in 6x6 or 12x12. So this is just about perfect for making cards. I really like it, and it's got lots of fun patterns in it. Let me show you some of the extra cards that I made. So first, there was this one. It says, "You make this world a better place." There's the inside. And what had happened is I had an extra cutout where I had cut a piece of this sparkly paper, which is also new in our January through June mini catalog. You get a sheet of this 12x12, and then one that is kind of a pool party, very light pool party, pearlescent color. It's beautiful. But anyway, so I had my little sheet of it that I used to cut out these rainbow stripes for a different card that you'll see in a minute, but I had the extra rainbow stripes left over. So I made this card. You can see I used the cloud die cut there. So there's one. Then I made this little set of thank you cards. And the reason these ones came about is because on the card that we are making, I needed these rainbow stripes, right? And so I had cut a piece this size, cut out the stripes, and then something about the card, I didn't like the way it turned out or something, I can't quite remember. And I had these pieces left over. And so I thought, and so I had a couple of them. So I went ahead and made a third one, so we had a set of 3. It might have been better to do a set of 4, but then added a little tiny cloud right there that just says thank you. So they're very simple. And then I put a bow around them so I can give them as a set. I may make a 4th one just because it bothers me to only have 3. And then I stamped the flap of the envelopes. And for these, I forgot to tell you, I used our note cards that come. It's a set of 20 cards and note cards for like $7.50. It's a great deal, and it's awesome for making quick and easy cards. But anyway, I stamped the flap with the same message that I used on this card, actually, this "You Make the World a Brighter Place." Then I took the cards and I put them together and just wrapped them with a little bit of our white glitter ribbon, and I will give them away as a set to somebody. Okay, now the card we're going to make tonight. Hi, Tina, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Okay, this is the card we're making, and the paper that I'm using is from the Abstract Beauty Designer Series paper that I told you about. I used a little bit on the envelope and I used a little bit on the card. Here's what the card looks like. Just simple on the inside. So let's go ahead and do the envelope first. Have some white baker's twine there that we're going to use. So what's everybody think so far? You guys liking these ones? Also, if you are watching on YouTube and you want to see more of these, you can subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and then there's a little button that looks like a bell. If you click on that, it will give you notifications whenever a new video is posted. If you follow me on my Facebook page, then you'll also see the little flyers that I post reminding you that videos are coming up. So thanks, Robin. She says the cards are gorgeous. I really do try to come up with stuff I think you guys will like. Which, by the way, if there's a stamp set that you're wanting to see some ideas with, or maybe a particular tool you want to know how to use it, or that kind of thing, let me know, because I'm always looking for ideas for my videos. And I would love to accommodate what you're looking for. So I'm going to set this over there. Now I've got this piece of cardstock. It's a half of a sheet, but it's cut lengthwise. So it is 11 by 4 1/4. It is scored in the middle at 5 1/2. Fold that right there. Now what I'm going to do is I've got a piece of basic white that we're going to create the front of our card with. Let's just get all those pieces out. These are my rainbow pieces. I'll set them up here in the size order so that I put them on in order. Got a little piece here for my banner. Got a couple of clouds. Oh, apparently I cut 2 pieces for my banner. Let's go ahead and glue this to the inside of the card just so that I don't lose it, because it's a tiny little guy. This one is not going to go all the way to the edge of the card because it's only 4 inches wide. Remember, the cardstock or the Designer Series paper is 4 by 6. So what I'll do is I will put it down here and then kind of center it. Ooh, it needs to be moved over quite a bit. That's the other nice thing about using the liquid glue on pieces like this, because then while it's still wet, you can slide it around a little bit. And it's not totally centered, but it will work. And I got a little bit of glue on that. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to show you how to remove that when that happens. So I have a strip here. This is our, this is a 6-inch strip. I guess it's probably 5 1/2 that I used, that we're just going to glue on here. I guess I have my liquid glue out, so I might as well just use it. And I'm just lining it right up with the edge of the card. Cut off the extra. And now I'm going to take my rainbow stripes and start gluing them down. And I think that looks like a good height for them. So I'm going to use my liquid glue for these, because it's easier with that curve in the rainbow stripe, but also because if I need to squiggle it around a little bit on my paper, I can. So there's piece number 1, and I am just butting it right up to that Designer Series paper. That's kind of funny how much longer it is. Oh, it's because I brought it down, duh. Okay. Piece number 3 on here. And this actually goes, as you can see, pretty darn quick. Uh-oh. Last one. Whoops. Okay. Now we don't care that they are all different lengths at the bottom there because we're going to be covering that up anyway. So I've got a couple of these clouds, and I started out with just one, but then I decided it needed two just to have it build, you know, so that it looked like there were clouds behind clouds. So what I'm going to do here is I don't like this little piece. Well, I guess it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and glue this first one down. And then, let's see, kind of figure out where I want it to be. Okay, so we're going to put it right about there. Again, butt it up to that piece of Designer Series paper. And I'm just lining it up with, butted up to the Designer Series paper, but lined up with the bottom of the card. Now we can cut off the extra. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our baker's twine, and I just wrapped it around a couple of times and then tied a bow. Just a little bow. There was some glue on my finger and it stuck to my baker's twine. Okay. Oh, I don't like it when it does this. It gets all twisty in there. But if you play with it a little bit, the twisty goes away. So I'm just kind of messing with it until my bow is the way I like it. That looks good. Now I'm going to trim my tails so that they're the same length. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and line up my baker's twine so that it's right on that edge where the Designer Series paper meets everything else. There we go. And now I'm going to mount this onto the card. I'm going to pop it up from the card, and I'm going to use foam adhesive sheets for that. Well, it looks like I need new ones. Let me get a second to grab some new ones. Okay, well, it looks like I am out of foam adhesive sheets, so we will use dimensionals. I like my foam adhesive sheets just because it's quicker and easier than putting 100 dimensionals on. But if you don't have those, of course dimensionals work. But I do like to have a lot of them on there, so it can be sort of time consuming to use dimensionals. I don't like my card to sag at all, which is why I use so many. Oops, that one tried to get away. Excuse me, ma'am, come back here. Okay, now pull all these backs off. If you don't have dimensionals, or if you have never used dimensionals, they're not very expensive. They're like $4.50, I think. And I really recommend getting a pack. You get a ton of them in a pack, and just start experimenting with them. It's kind of fun, you know, to raise stuff up, and it just pops out a little bit more. And okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on here, these on here, and try to get my margins lined up. There we go. Now we need to make our banner. So I have some Blushing Bride ink. And the sentiment that I'm using is this one that says, "You make me happy." Just, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it toward the right-hand edge of my strip here. Perfect. Clean it off. And now I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut an angle right here. And once again, I'm going to use some dimensionals to pop up this tag, or what is it, banner. We've used a lot of dimensionals tonight, haven't we? I'm going to line this up with the edge of the piece that I popped up. And there we go. So now that card is done. Ta-da! What do you guys think of that one? That one was quick and easy. Now I've got a couple drawings for you guys. I have 2 packs of designer series paper that came out in celebration, as celebration gifts. This one is the rainbows, does it say on here? Sunshine and Rainbows. It came out with in our most recent celebration, and I love this paper. It's so fun. There's lots of neat patterns, and it's just a happy print. And then we have the Oh So Ombre. This came out a few celebrations ago, and you can see it's got a few different colors in there, and it's really, really pretty and very versatile paper. So I'm going to be doing those 2 drawings tonight. So let's get some paper and a pen so I can write down everybody who came on to play tonight. Okay, I think I'm gonna write it on here. So I'm gonna see if I can scroll up all the comments to see everybody who commented. What might actually be the easiest way to do this, since it won't let me scroll up, is for, the comments are kind of frozen on my computer, which is sort of weird. So if you are here, why don't you say, well, hello, Carmen. It's nice to see you. Welcome. Let's see. I know Kathy Z is here. I know Marcy is here. And Tracy was here. I know Kathy is here. And let's see. I know Talina is here. And Eric, so we'll let them both count here. Let's see, who else was here? I know we've got Carmen. wonder if it'll let me scroll back on my phone. Robin is here. Tina is here. Carol is here. Sorry if I'm bouncing the picture, you guys. I just, I'm trying to scroll on my phone to see if I can catch everybody. Mary is here. A lot of you guys tonight. That's exciting. Did I get Jason? Did not get Jason, but he was here. Stephanie was here. Donna Schaefer is here. Or was. I don't know if she still is. Okay, looks like I got everybody. If your name is not on that list that I just said, let me show the list actually, because you guys can't see where I was writing. If you are here and your name is not on that list, let me know, because I will definitely add you to the list so you can be in the drawing. I'm going to start cutting these names. I'm going to try to do this quickly so you're not having to hang on forever while I do this. Now, some of you, I have your address, and some of you I do not. So, if you are a winner of one of our gifts tonight, and I don't have your address, please just send me a private message and let me know what your address is, and I can get this mailed out to you. This is my jar I keep chocolate in. I emptied the chocolate out so I could do this. Okay. In the future, I think what I'm going to do is I will do the drawings at the beginning of my next live. That way, we don't have to take a lot of time at the end to do this. So I can just do it afterward. I can go through the comments and see who was here and go from there. The other thing I can do by doing that is the people who watch it in the replay can also get in for the drawing by just commenting that they watch it in the replay, whether it's here on Facebook or on YouTube. Because I want everybody to have a chance to play, right? Okay, last one going in. And now I'm going to shake them up. Ooh, that totally shakes up the camera. Just trying to mix them all up well. Whoops. Okay, you guys. I thought I dropped one. Okay, so first winner, and this will be for the Oso Ombre paper. And this is going to Talina. Talina, you know I have your address, so I will get this out in the mail to you. And let's see, our next winner is Kathy. Kathy, are Are you on our rack list? Because if you're on the rack list, I have your address, and I can't remember off the top of my head. If you are not, then I don't have your address, and you have this pack of the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper coming your way. I just need to know where to send it. So contact me in a personal message and just let me know. Let's take a quick minute to re-look at the cards we made tonight, and then I will let you guys go. Clean up some of my mess. If you would like to place an order, I would love to earn your business. If you want to order any of the supplies that we use tonight, or you just need to restock some things, or you just want to do some fun shopping, you can do so at my website, heathersides.stampinup.net. If your order is under $150, please use my host code. This allows me to earn free things that I can give away, that I'm going to start doing them with each of my weekly lives, giving away prizes. So that would help me a lot. If your order's over $150, then don't use the host code, because I want you to be able to get all those rewards that come with an order of that size. So let's see, the cards we made tonight. We have the glittery rainbow cards. These were some of the extra ideas I had, the little thank you cards, and just this sweet little card. So all those beautiful rainbows. We had this hello card. And then we had our adorable little ladybug with her textured leaves. And I had a bunch of other samples that I already moved off to the side, so I won't bring them in again. But I hope you guys had fun tonight with the cards that we made. Again, if you had a good time, you enjoyed these, I would love it if you would give me some thumbs up or hearts, and like the video, subscribe to my YouTube page, or follow me on my Facebook page. Those are the kind of things that really help me to build my business. And of course, share the video on your page, because you never know who might be interested in seeing it. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.